practitioner and early level practitioner code along, an introduction to block-based coding using Scratch Junior. So as you may be aware, this week is Computing Science Scotland Week. And the aim of Computing Science Scotland Week is to celebrate Scotland's achievements and engagements with computing science in education. It gives us an opportunity to highlight a wide range of purposeful and playful experiences that computing science can offer across all levels of Curriculum for Excellence. So, where is computing science in our curriculum? Within the early level technologies curriculum, we have 4 experiences and outcomes split into 3 organisers. Understanding the world through computational thinking. This is about recognising where computational thinking strategies are in our daily lives, in the world around us. Understanding and analysing computing technology is all about how computing science works in the world around us. Where are the computers? What's inside? What makes things work? Designing, building and testing computing solutions. This is about programming and using coding devices or equivalent to create simple sets of instructions or algorithms. Note the equivalent, we'll come back to that later. So what is Scratch Junior? This is a little bit about the why. Why is it suitable for younger learners and pre-readers? The full recording is available on the slides at the end. But in today's short session, I'm going to show you a few minutes.
Android tablets, some Chromebooks, mostly touchscreen devices for the most part, because back in 2014 when we were researching this, we decided that kids use a touchscreen the best at this age. That being said, now as we've progressed and picked up popularity, we're also working on a web version, but that's kind of still in the early building stages. But hopefully, the ultimate goal is to make Scratch Junior available to everyone that wants to use it. But for now, it's on iPads, tablets, things like that. It is a block-based programming language, just like Scratch, but there's a few different differences that I'll get into. But for now, I'll just show you the interface. Up here at the top where the little kitten is on in the green hills, that we call the programming stage. And so that's where all of the output of the code goes. So rather, if you think about Python or other programming languages, one of the reasons that it's not usually accessible to young kids is because there isn't a really clear output. So one way that we make it available to kids is having a really concrete output from their input. So their code that they put at the bottom, this programming area, will then create animations that the kids can then watch. So they get to immediately see what their different programming blocks make and do, and they get to make their own stories or movies, we call them sometimes, because they are moving. They have different pages here on my right, so you can see there's one page here, but they could add up to 4 pages and have them all connect to make a little storybook. They could add different characters, they could customize and paint characters, so there's a lot of different modes of engagement, but the idea is that we're teaching very basic programming to young kids. So why Scratch Junior? We wonder, why do we need Scratch Junior at this age? So we have Scratch, but that's ages 8 and up. And so we're thinking about how we can bring these foundational ideas at really critical periods of learning for kids at this. iPads.
Okay, so we're just going to stop that there, but if you would like to watch the full webinar recording from a previous session with Scratch, please do check it out. At the bottom of the screen there, I've popped on a link, and that will take you to a guide with hints and tips and lots of fantastic short demo videos. And the same support can be found within the app too by tapping on the book icon at the top right. Now, from my experience of working with early level children for a number of years, I would be using Scratch Junior more with preschool children and those working at the end of early level in primary 1. But as we know, all children are different and you know your learners best. Nearer the end, I will share information about an alternative block-based coding program that starts with the very basics of dragging and dropping the blocks that I feel is a more appropriate way to begin to introduce block-based coding with 3-year-olds, and it progresses nicely, developing into the skills that we require to use Scratch. So we mentioned Barefoot there a bit earlier. The free resources in Barefoot can support your understanding of computing science and in particular computational thinking. Our other session looks at just that, but the reason I'm mentioning it in this session is because of the language that we use when we are developing and running a sequence of instructions and using them on programmable devices or equivalent. Now that equivalent can be within Scratch Junior, it can be running them on the Scratch app. It could even be through roleplay, it could be using a small world figure or a teddy bear. It could even be dress up play. You could be pretending to be the robot yourself. The key concepts and approaches that make up computational thinking. So the concepts are about the subject knowledge that the learners need to understand, such as algorithms, and the approaches are the skills and behaviours that learners need to be able to develop and succeed, like perseverance. Okay, so now it's code along time. And we're going to use Scratch Junior to create a short animation. We're going to use Scratch Junior to tell a story, to share a message. The theme of this year's Computing Science Scotland Week is sustainability. And in this activity, we're going to link to the UN Global Goal for Sustainability number 14, Life Below Water. And in this demo, I am going to tell a story about protecting our oceans. Now you can follow along with me and code along, but do feel free to choose your own characters, your own backgrounds, and tell your own story. There are no right or wrong ways to do this. It's about having fun. It's really open-ended, so be as creative as you can. Have a play or have a tinker, as we call it, in relation to computing science learning. Make a little animation with me about absolutely anything you wish to tell the story about. So you're going to choose a background, you're going to set your scene. So where is your animation taking place? You're going to choose a character, so who is in your animation, and then you're going to think about the message that you want to share. So what is your animation going to be about? And when introducing this with the children, we would be highlighting, beginning, middle and end of a story, or first, then and last, whichever way you describe it in your setting. And you may notice the links to the literacy and English curriculum. So within real and imaginary situations, I share experiences, feelings, ideas and information in a way that communicates my message and also makes sense. And this is where we can have lots of fun too. We can mix things up in the wrong order and see what happens. We know that children love it when adults make mistakes, and we can talk about spotting bugs in our algorithms in relation to this. So this is a little example of an animation that I have made using Scratch Junior. I'm trying to tell the story about plastic pollution being damaging to our oceans and our creatures in the story. Let's try to make ocean-friendly decisions when we're by. I have a diver telling us some hints and tips for what we can do to help work towards Goal 14. So once you open up Scratch Junior, you will come to your home page. I've got quite a few draft projects all sitting there on my screen. You might not have any if this is the first time you've used it. What you will have is a blank page, so top left with the plus sign on it. If you could tap on that, that will give you your blank page. Set the scene under the sea. At the top, in the middle, there's a little photograph with a landscape picture on it. If you tap on that, it will give you all your backgrounds. Now you can do custom backgrounds, you can edit your backgrounds and bring in photographs, and you can draw on your backgrounds too First of all, I'm going to select the ocean background, but I want to add a little bit of personalisation to it, so I'm going to tap on the paintbrush icon at the top of the screen, and then I'm going to use the controls down the left hand side to try and create the effect of some plastic waste in the ocean. So I'm going to choose the free draw option with a slightly thicker pen. Now I'm going to try the circular shape with a darker colour, and then this square. Okay, so this is going to represent the plastic waste in the ocean. You do have other options down the right hand side as well, to add in photographs and to cut things out and copy and so on. So I'm going to save that. So I've got my background now, but I don't want the cat in this animation. In this animation, I would like to have a little fish. So I'm just going to hold on the cat, sorry Scratch Cat, and remove him. And then over on the left hand side, I'm going to tap on the plus to add another character. So I'm going to add the yellow fish, and I'm quite happy with the way that fish looks. Now what I would like this fish to be able to do is to swim along and bump into the rubbish, and then give the effect that the fish is unwell, because we all know that plastic pollution damages not just the ocean but also the creatures in it too. Now I've had a wee play around with this before, so I know roughly what I want the fish to do, so I know roughly what blocks I'm going to use. But if you're new to Scratch, I would advise you popping on the grid option. So along the very top, next to the background option on the left, you can pop on the grid option, and that will help you to judge how many spaces that you want to move. Okay, so now I'm going to start using the blocks. So along the bottom, we have different types of blocks. The yellow blocks, they are trigger blocks. So that's going to help us program our animation to start. The blue blocks are our motion blocks, and that's going to help us make our character move. The purple blocks are our looks blocks, and that's where we can add effects like shrink and grow. The green blocks are our audio options. The orange blocks are our controls, where we control the speed, we can add repeats or loops, and we can add delays in. And the red blocks are our end blocks, so that tells our animation when to stop or to repeat. So I would like this fish to move right. And I'm going to say 11 times because I know roughly that's how many times he needs to move. And if you're not sure what any of the blocks are, if you just tap your finger over, hold it on, and it will tell you. So I would like this fish to turn left and turn right. Many times. Okay, so we've got our blocks in for movement, but remember we need to put our trigger blocks in. So back to the yellow blocks, and I'm going to choose the green flag, and that means when we tap the green flag icon at the top, our program will run. And just before we test it out, we want to add an end block as well, because that's all we want this fish to do. So let's see, how does it look? Yes, I'm happy with that. I'd like to now put the fish back to the start. So up next to the green flag at the top, there is a reset button. It's got an arrow and a cross. There, we've popped our fish back to the start. Okay, so that's showing the negative impacts of plastic pollution in the ocean, but we want to be able to spread a message because we want this animation to be impactful, working towards global goal 14, life below water. So to help us do that, I'm going to bring in another character. I'm going to bring in a diver this time. Where did the diver go? Oh, there we go. I'm going to change the colour of the wetsuit. So to do that, I'll tap on the paintbrush button just like we did with the background. And this will give me the option here to choose some of the colours. I could also, again, I could draw on extra features if I wanted to by using the draw tools at the left hand side, or I could also import a photo, take a photo or import a photo to personalise the diver even more, but I'm happy with that for now. Okay, so I'm going to position the diver at the very top left of the screen here, and what I would like to do is animate the diver so that it looks like she's swimming closer and lower, and then she's going to tell us a special message. So this time I'm not going to use the trigger block green flag, and I'll show you why at the end, but instead I'm going to select the option start on tap. So when I tap the scuba diver, she's going to start to move. Okay, and I'd like her to move to the right one, then down one, and then I would like her to grow to make it look like she's coming closer to the screen. And we'll go right again. Grow a few more times. Now I'm altering the number on the blocks with this little number pad on the right hand side here, and to pull that up I just simply tap on the number under the blocks. Now I'm trying to keep the code here quite neat and tidy, but of course depending on the stage your learners are at, they may not be recognising numerals yet, and instead they may just want to drag down a series of single blocks. They also have the option to do that. Now if you make a mistake and you want to remove some blocks, you can either just drag them below, or if you drag them up, they will disappear again. Now the other option is within the orange buttons, within the control buttons. So this is a repeat block. So instead of altering the number or adding a series of single blocks, we can pop a block within the repeat block, and then we can alter the number on it there too. So a few different options. So we're going to go forward, we're going to go down, we're going to try and grow, we're going to move again, we're going to grow, we're going to move again, and grow 4 times. And then we shall go down 4 more times. So I'm just going to give that a little play, test it and see how it looks before we do the voice recording. So tap on the diver. Yeah, I suppose I would be happy with that position. So now pop her back to the start, and I'm going to add in our audio block. So we have a pop block, which is quite nice because that gets your attention. So I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to add in a personalised message in this voice recording option. Let's try to make better ocean-friendly decisions when buying food and not choose any with plastic packaging. Let's try to make better ocean-friendly decisions when buying food and not choose any with plastic packaging. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That sounds clear enough. And then I'm just going to add an end block to the very end. There we are. Now, to show you what would happen if I had added a start on green flag to the diver as well as the fish. they would both then start at the same time. And that's fine, that might
Let's
be what
try
you
to
want.
make better ocean-friendly decisions when buying food and not choose any with plastic packaging.
However, I wanted the fish to swim in first, bump into the plastic, and then the diver to come in with the message.
Let's try to make better ocean-friendly decisions when buying food and not choose any with plastic packaging.
Okay, now before you close your project, it's always good to give it a name. So I'm just going to call this one Goal 14. And back to the home, and I'm happy that my project has saved here, Project 13. And I can go back in there and edit it at any time. I could add a second page, a third page, a fourth page. I could make my story, as short or as long as I wanted to. Okay, so let's hit the green flag and we will test our code. Let's try to make ocean-friendly decisions when we're buying food. Let's try not to buy food that comes in plastic packaging. I only added the one page here in our activity, but you could add as many as you liked. You could have a beginning, a middle and an end page, or it could be a group collaboration story, or a story over time. We started with an idea, we tested it, we tinkered with it, we spotted the bugs and the mistakes, and we persevered to create our algorithms using block-based coding to tell a story. By using Scratch in a creative way to tell a story covers so many more E's and O's than the technologies. E's and O's spotted all the crossovers in the literacy and English curriculum. And look at the keywords: enjoying, exploring, playing, imagining. And also in the numeracy and maths curriculum. Far too many E's and O's here to display, but many of the fundamentals of the numeracy and maths curriculum are explored through creative storytelling in Scratch. The word creativity has been used countless times in this session. Creativity is one of the most sought after skills in the world of work, and a skill that as early years practitioners is central to the opportunities and experiences that we provide for young children. On page 24 of Realising the Ambition, Being Me, our national practice guidance for early learning and childcare, it reminds us that creativity is vital for learning. It's all about having the space, the time and the freedom to play and tinker with open-ended provocations, with no pressure to create a desired outcome.
The awesomest thing you can, like an automatic grilled cheese maker, or a time machine, or a time machine with an automatic grilled cheese maker. Now imagine who's going to invent it. Him? Glasses here? Whoever they are? Or maybe her? But how do kids like these become the types of people that do things like this? Maybe we should ask this guy.
Knowledge is heavy. Sometimes it's a limit to have new ideas. That's the problem with the old schooling, because they were teaching answers. I believe questions are probably more important today than the answers.
Erno's Cube is a question waiting to be answered. And when the right person finds the right question, something amazing happens. They start seeing the world as it truly is. Not a place to be memorized, but a place to be figured out, flipped, turned, twisted, and ultimately made better, forever. Today, she may be an octopus, but help kids like her fall in love with problem solving, and they will embark on journeys to become scientists, artists, engineers, designers, inventors, or something no one's ever been before, but you can bet we're gonna need. That's why moments like this, go, and this, and this, and especially this, are so important. Because there are companies to found, planets to walk on, and a future to be made amazing. We may not know what it's going to look like, but we know who's going to do it.
Here we have a learning pathway that consists of 3 webinar recordings, 60 minutes each, that look at the 3 organisers in much more detail. So we have an introduction to computing science. We look at unplugged computing science, where absolutely no devices are required, and that looks at outdoor learning as well, and then on to programmable devices and online apps and programs. There's also some lovely stories from other nurseries and schools in there too. At the start, I mentioned an alternative coding programme for early level learners, or the younger early level learners that are just starting out. Code.org has some fabulous free resources, and the Pre-Reader Express is one that I would use with the younger children. It introduces block-based coding using a very simple, clear interface. Instructions can be played via audio clips, and it progresses through levels, so it gets more difficult after each game. And it starts off with the very, very basics of dragging and dropping the blocks.